I remember fishing Lake Merced in the fall of 1972 with a neighborhood friend of mine. His father had dropped us off on the South Lake, and Bill had enough equipment for both of us. We walked to the kiddie pier, and with little motivation or enthusiasm, I managed to get my line out. It was a gray morning, and you could hear the zoo tigers and elephants across from the lake. Heck, I was only 5 miles from my home in the city of San Francisco, but I felt 100 miles away. I was a 10-year-old city kid who'd been in more fights, built more go-karts, dug more tunnels, sold more lemonade, and lived a Tom Sawyer existence, despite living in the city of San Francisco. But fishing, come on. That's for wimps, not me. I wanted a concrete wall with a strike zone, a tennis ball, a wooden bat, my glove, and high walls. I wanted to play strikeout, or what East Coast guys refer to as stickball. But fishing? That was for guys who like golf or tennis, not me. I was too tough, too Irish, too German. Then suddenly the noise, the racket. Hey man, you got one on. I grabbed my pole. I felt that fish fighting and tugging. And from that very moment on, I was hooked, along with the fish. Everything became brighter, and suddenly, you're the center of attention. Perfect strangers cheering you on, and the gray morning becomes brighter, and the colors around you are more vivid. A new drug of no equals, this fishing. Then to see that 12-inch rainbow trout come to the surface out of that city lake, oh, to feel that way again. I would do anything to capture that feeling.
Lake Merced has a long, strange history. In 1893, 90,000 muskies were planted in the lake, but never heard from again. A fish usual to Minnesota and Ontario, growing to 4 feet long with a dinosaur look to them, somehow ended up in Lake Merced. The diversity of fish continued with bluegill and Sacramento perch, planted in 1939, along with largemouth bass, sockeye salmon in 1961, brook trout in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, coho salmon in 1982, red-eared sunfish and black crappie in 1983, and channel catfish in the 1990s. But the rainbow trout has been the main fishery of Lake Merced, so much so that Field and Stream in the 1980s deemed Lake Merced the most successful urban fishery in the USA.
The kiddie pier was just that, for kiddies. I needed to cross the narrow path and head to the North Lake. The fishing was better and more challenging. If bait didn't work, you tried flies or lure, but you mixed things up. Even on the city lake, you began to understand the changing habits of the fish. No, it wasn't Montana, but the same rules applied. North Shore, especially the west corner of the North Lake, was a combination of bikers, war vets, alcoholics, blue-collar workers who didn't tolerate some young punk who couldn't cast his line straight. One foul cast crossing other anglers' lines will get you a boot up your ass. Never to return to that spot again. After many straight casts, I befriended many of these World War vets, from the big one, Korea and Nam. I also met guys like Disco Joe, who would dance to the disco music of that era, and Fish. Good dancer, better fisherman. So no one complained. I saw the buses pull up from different parts of the city. The Blacks from Ocean Avenue, with their Zebco-covered reels and rods. Although cheap equipment, could fish as well as anyone. Mexicans from the Mission District. Tough Irish guys from the Sunset. Not a mommy's boy in the bunch. All of us with a common goal, to catch trout at this jewel of a lake. With a little luck, maybe an old-timer would give you a beer, a little advice, and 10 hours later, a firm handshake. See you tomorrow, kid.
Lake Merced is fed by a freshwater aquifer. Historically, creeks have flowed into the lake from the surrounding low mountains. Until the 1880s, the lake was separated from the ocean by a sandbar, which was breached periodically. In 1852, an earthquake opened the split, and the lake lost 30 feet of water. Since the 1880s, the fish population of Lake Merced has undergone dramatic changes which reflect the profound transformation of the physical condition of the lake. Since 1939, the lake has been stocked with large numbers of rainbow trout introduced for sport fishing. There are 3 lakes here: Lake Merced North, South, and the Merced Impoundment. The South Lake is the largest of the 3 and has been damaged greatly by low water levels and unchecked tule growth since its golden days of the 1980s. The depth and shoreline of the various bodies of water which constitute Lake Merced have changed over the years, offering a wide variety of aquatic habitats. Today, the lake contains stretches of shallow and moderately deep open water, generally less than 24 feet deep. There are several shoreline habitats including tule reeds, gently sloped mud shores, steep rock banks, and drop-offs.
Opening day, April 1979, Lake Merced, San Francisco, California. Hey, you couldn't squeeze a toothpick between us. There were so many fishermen on the shoreline that morning. As far as the eye could see, cars started pulling at 5 o'clock in the morning. I arrived a few minutes later on my bicycle and soon joined the faithful who were making their pilgrimage to Lake Merced on opening day. 50,000 trout were waiting for us, but nothing, not a bite. The only thing you heard was inhaling of Pall Mall non-filter cigarettes and shivering teeth. 5,000 lines in the water and no action, from the shoreline to the boats. It was a dead calm. Then suddenly I looked up, and there he was, as he stood 25 feet above us on the embankment. He wore a white turtleneck, held his fishing rod as a Greek god holds a sword. His golden hair and 6'5" stature made us feel like the Indians watching Cortez march into the Golden City. As he made his way to the shoreline, he began casting 50 yards of line with ease and expertise, with a very funky crocodile lure, and bam, 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 fish after fish. The masses stood stone in disbelief. Then the cheers from the crowd. "They're hitting lures, I tell you. They're hitting lures," I heard in the air. In a display of uniformity which would have made the communists proud, every single angle on the shoreline switched to lures. However, still, no luck, for he had the crocodile lure and we just had our regular traditional lures. The fisherman from antiquity caught a few more fish, released them, turned towards the hill, and made his ascension into the sun, never to be seen again.
The angler from antiquity is gone, but a man called Forrest has been called to show us that the lake may still hold some promise. Can this Native American, using modern-day techniques and legendary native skills, show the city of San Francisco that despite all of the damage done to this once great lake, that a fish waiting to be caught and released holds the key to restoring our faith?